coaches, just want to give a quick overlook of what the survey is, kind of what's on it, and some of the key pieces so people are at least a little bit of aware of what's kind of going on where we're at. Obviously, we've had a lot changing here the last few years in the sport of wrestling as a whole, along with just the athletics in Michigan as it's going. And again, with our sport, we just want to try and make sure we're always in line with that, looking at things and serving our coaches and community as best we can. So with that said, we're going to survey this year. The first thing kind of open up, there's going to be a demographics kind of piece, just talking about like your role and what your team kind of is made up of where it's located. Looking for trends and patterns, because obviously big schools, small schools might see things different, or like different areas of the state might see things different. So that's really all that's meant to do, is just to help pull some data as needed. From there, we do have a few questions on girls wrestling, if you have girls on your team. And then there's going to be two big sections on some preliminary concepts. These are things that could be proposals. Just really trying to, again, get coaching feedback on this first to see where it's at. There's really two kind of main pieces we're looking for preliminary concepts. One of them's on weigh-ins. The other one that we'll talk about in a second is on some postseason team seeding. So with the weigh-ins, there's really four kind of different options we're looking at. This is really focused on the varsity side. There still can be allowances to let JV still have like home weigh-ins or kind of where things are at to not harm JV meets, things like that. But we're looking at varsity stuff. That could be varsity girls, varsity boys, whichever as we're going. Again, these are just concepts, not actual proposals as they're written, so there could be some tweaking to go. The first one is just going to all on-site weigh-ins all the time, everything, right? Moving away from home weigh-ins and going to on-site. The second one is having either some set dates or set number of times that need to be on-site weigh-ins for a team. The third one, concept C, is having some flexibility, but moving away from day before weigh-ins to day of weigh-ins. That could be like a team weighs in at their school before going to the event, a team weighs the morning of an event, but no more day before weigh-ins to kind of move that way. So the last one is a little bit more to it than the others, but the idea, as it boils down to, is that you will just have an on-site weigh-in every time an athlete is verifying a lowest weight certification. So this could be obviously the first weigh-in of the year. Almost everybody's going to be on-site for that because they don't have a first weight class set yet. But then from there, it could get less and less, but you could still be middle of January and a school shows up and there's one or two kids that maybe need to do an on-site weigh-in for themselves to get that new weight certification, while the other ones might not be. Again, there could be some still tweaking and fine-tuning to go with this. Out of all four of these concepts, you could support all of them, none of them, a couple of them. It's just anything you think makes sense or that you would like to see more on or see us work more on. The second piece is on postseason team seeding. Again, with these, you could support both or none or one or the other. We know that we've been looking more and more at seeding in the sports as a whole in the state. So it's really kind of looking at these two concepts. The first one is probably, if you want to compare it to something, is more in line with like the football seeding. It's just kind of within districts, in a level, not moving teams geographically outside of a team regional, but structuring that, your top teams are each in their own individual team district from that given regional. There's some different ways to break that up, how that would go here. And then the other one is more like what I'd say is the lacrosse model, if you're familiar with that. And this would break geographic boundaries and aims to separate, so that way there's not two top 4 or top 8 teams in the same team regional, and kind of breaking it up from there. So that is the difference between those two. Other things we're going to look at primarily is just our general rules questions we ask every year. Got a few of those. Some questions on some postseason individual stuff. And a bigger section on postseason team stuff, given that those are two of our concepts we're looking at, seeing where different facets of that tie in for people. And then finally, there's a small section at the end just on the clinic and other stuff. So hopefully this helps you understand a little bit where the survey is coming from, where it's going to. We'll probably have further dialogue at this at the regional level and otherwise. And I will have a second video that's more in depth, kind of looking at each question, talking about that as I go. If you want, feel free to watch that if you need more information when you go to work with your stuff.